Hello viewers, I am Deepti. On demand of many students, today I am going to make a video for ICSE Class 10 Biology students covering a few questions from logical sequence, odd one out and name these type questions. First of all, arrange and rewrite each set of terms so as to be in a logical sequence. So first illogical sequence is dorsal root ganglion, receptor, effector, ventral root ganglion and associated neuron. So the correct logical sequence is first receptor, then dorsal root ganglion, then associated neuron, then ventral root ganglion and then effector. Effector may be muscle or a gland. Second sequence is conjunctiva, pupil, cornea, lens, vitreous humor, aqueous humor. So logical sequence is conjunctiva, then cornea, then aqueous humor, then pupil, lens, and then vitreous humor. Third is epididymis, urethra, sperm duct, seminiferous tubule, network of tubules. So sequence correct is seminiferous tubule, then network of tubules, then epididymis, then sperm duct, urethra. It means this is the path that a sperm follows in a mammal. Next sequence is ovulation, fertilization, implantation, gestation, parturition. So starting with ovulation, then fertilization, then implantation, then gestation, and then parturition. Next sequence is G1 phase, chirokinesis, G2 phase, cytokinesis, S phase. So the correct logical sequence is G1 phase, then S yani synthesis phase, then G2 phase, then chirokinesis and then cytokinesis. Next sequence is Metaphase, Anaphase, Interphase, Telophase, Prophase. And the correct sequence is Interphase, Prophase, Metaphase, Anaphase and then Telophase. Next is water molecule, hydrogen and oxygen, chlorophyll in thylakoid, ATP and photons. And the correct logical sequence is chlorophyll in thylakoid, then photons, then water molecule split into hydrogen and oxygen and then energy in ATP form. So ATP. Next sequence is repolarization, depolarization, and then resting. Resting means polarized. Conduction of nerve impulse. So first is resting or polarized phase, then depolarized, it means excited phase, and then repolarized means again in the resting phase. So polarized, depolarized, and then repolarized. Next sequence is thrombin, fibrin, prothrombin, clot, fibrinogen. And the correct sequence is prothrombin, then fibrinogen, then fibrin, and last is clot. Next sequence is cochlea, tympanum, auditory canal, ear ossicles, and oval window. So the correct sequence is tympanum, auditory canal, all these are outer ear parts, then ear ossicles and oval window, it means middle ear part, and then cochlea, it means inner ear part. 11 sequence is left ventricle, pulmonary vein, mitral valve, left auricle, aorta. Starting with pulmonary vein, left auricle, mitral valve, left ventricle, and then aorta. Next sequence, root hair cell, endodermis, soil water, cortex, and then xylem. Starting with soil water, root hair cell, then cortex, then endodermis, and then xylem. Next is bacteria, antigen, lymphocytes, antibody, active immunity. So starting with active immunity, then bacteria, then antigen, then lymphocytes, and then they will produce antibody. Next is follicular phase, luteal phase, menstrual phase, and ovulatory phase. Starting with menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and then luteal phase. Next sequence is effector, receptor, motor neuron, sensory neuron, and spinal cord. So starting with receptor, sensory neuron, spinal cord, motor neuron, and then effector. Last sequence is glomerulus, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, proximal convoluted tubule, and then Bowman's capsule. So starting with glomerulus, then Bowman's capsule, then PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, then loop of Henle, and then distal convoluted tubule. तो आप सबको पता है ये एक्सक्रीटरी के पार्ट हैं आपका यूरिन सिस्टम के साथ. Now coming to odd one out questions. Constrict pupil, inhibits secretion of saliva, retards heartbeat, stimulates secretion of saliva. So odd one out term is here inhibits secretion of saliva. And category is activities of parasympathetic nervous system. We all know that parasympathetic system prepares our body for relaxation. So it stimulates secretion of saliva. तो यहाँ पर और क्या हो गया inhibit secretion of saliva क्योंकि हमको पता है कि parasympathetic system normal conditions को re-establish करवाएगा. Next is cellophane paper, rubber sheet, whisking bag, goat's bladder. So category is semi-permeable membrane. It means allow the passage of selective molecules only. And the odd one is rubber sheet because rubber sheet is impermeable. If in the place of rubber sheet I have given muslin cloth, then again muslin cloth will be the odd term and the because it is freely permeable, and category remains same that it is semi-permeable. Next is semicircular canal, cochlea, tympanum, utriculus. So category is parts of human inner ear, and odd one is tympanum because eardrum because it is part of outer ear. Next is ampulla, ear ossicles, utriculus, sacculus. So category is part of human ear associated with balance of body, and the odd one is ear ossicles because they amplify the vibrations. Next is pituitary gland, salivary gland, thyroid gland, and then pancreas. So category is endocrine glands, and odd one is salivary gland because it is an exocrine gland because it has duct. Next is lungs, kidney, heart, and skin. So category is internal organs, and odd one is skin because it is externally located. Next is smoke, dust, sulfur dioxide, ash. Category is particulate pollutants, and odd is sulfur dioxide. If in the place of sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, then also all these are gaseous pollutants. Next is styrofoam, metallic cans, cow dung, and glass. So odd one is cow dung because it is biodegradable. So category is non-biodegradable waste. Next is optic nerve, spinal nerve, auditory nerve, and olfactory nerve. So category is sensory neurons. The odd one is spinal because it is sensory as well as motor. Next is spindle fibers appear, nucleolus disappear, furrow starts, centrioles move toward the opposite poles. So category is prophase of mitosis cell division, and odd one is furrow starts. Next is sewage, vehicular pollution, industrial pollution, brick kiln. So category is sources of air pollution, and odd one is sewage, source of water pollution. Next is uranium 235, iodine 131, chlorine 35.5, and cobalt 60. Category is radiation pollutants, and odd one is chlorine 35.5. Relaxin, cervix dilates, follicle, amniotic sac ruptures. So category is childbirth, or you can say at the time of delivery, and the odd one is follicle because it is a maturing egg in a cellular sac only. Next is Nirod, Copperty, MTP, medical termination of pregnancy, and Maladi. So odd one is MTP, and category is methods of contraception because MTP is not a contraceptive method but it is a forced abortion. Next is leukopenia, hematuria, glycosuria, albuminuria. So category is abnormal constituents in urine, means urine disorders. And odd one is leukopenia. It means blood disorder because WBC count get reduced. Next is thyroid gland, adrenal gland, pituitary gland, prostate gland. So category is endocrine gland. Odd one is prostate gland because it is exocrine gland. If in the place of prostate gland, any of the accessory male glands, seminal vesicle, Copper's gland, bulbourethral, you can write them as the odd one term. Cretinism, myxoderma, scurvy, goiter. Category is hormonal disorders and odd one is scurvy because it is due to the deficiency of vitamin C. Next is insulin, glucagon, diabetes insipidus, diabetes mellitus. So category is sugar metabolism and odd one is diabetes insipidus. It means frequent urination is there. So with this odd one out terms also over. Now coming to name these type of terms. First is a small region in the hindbrain that transmits impulses from brain to cerebellum and sensory signals to thalamus. दोनों काम कौन करता है? It means pons. हिंड ब्रेन में pons. तो हमें ये pons देना है. इसमें one word आपने देना है. Definition will be given there or related part. Next is shortest route traveled by an impulse from the receptor to an effector. And the name of this shortest route is reflex arc. Next, a neuron which carries impulses from the receptor to the central nervous system. So this is sensory neuron. The junction point between the terminal branches of axon of one neuron to the dendrites of other neuron separated by a fine gap. So this is synapse. Next is a large mass of gray matter that relays pain and pressure impulses to the cerebrum of the brain. So this large gray mass is thalamus. The process of focusing the eye lens at different distances to obtain near and far away vision is called accommodation is the correct answer. Widened end of each semicircular canal of inner ear is ampulla. A clear watery fluid filled in aqueous chamber between lens and cornea, and this fluid is aqueous humor. Area of no vision that lies on the retina of the eye and allows optic nerve and blood vessels to pass through, and this area of no vision is blind spot. Condition in which eye lens turns opaque and leads to loss of complete vision. This condition is, or you can say eye defect is cataract. A genetic defect of eye due to non-functioning of the cones. This is color blindness. A thin membrane covering the entire front part of the eye is conjunctiva. Next, a condition affecting older people who cannot see near objects clearly due to loss of elasticity of lens. This is presbyopia. A mixed nerve containing sensory and motor neurons carrying nerve impulses of vision from the retina of the eye to the brain. This is optic nerve because it is related with vision. Innermost light sensitive layer of eye located between choroid layer and the vitreous chamber. This is retina. Arises from the ciliary body of the eye and holds the lens in position. These are suspensory ligaments. Next is transparent jelly-like thick fluid filled in the eyeball between the lens and the retina to maintain its shape. This fluid is vitreous humor. A condition due to oversecretion of growth hormone suddenly occurring in an adult, leading to extra growth of bones in face, hands and feet. This is acromegaly. A condition in children caused due to hyposecretion of thyroxine hormone, leading to dwarfism and mental retardation. This is cretinism. A condition caused due to hypersecretion of glucocorticoids from the adrenal gland whose symptoms include high blood pressure or obesity. This is Cushing's syndrome. A control system of ductless glands that secrete hormones to coordinate and perform common functions. So this is our endocrine system. Hormones secreted by beta cells of islands of Langerhans of pancreas, and we know this hormone is insulin. A condition caused due to hyposecretion of thyroxine hormone in which person develops a swelling in neck resulting from an enlarged thyroid gland, and this is simple goiter. Next is a Golgi body in the head of a male sperm that secretes an enzyme named hyaluronidase, and this body is acrosome, a sac which develops around the embryo for protection, and this sac is amnion, the outermost membrane covering the embryo that helps in the formation of placenta. This is chorion, a small tubular node on the upper pole of the testis that temporarily stores sperms till matured and motile. This is epididymis, a cellular sac in the female ovary that encloses an ovum. This is follicle. Twins produced from two eggs that are released from the ovaries at the same time, and both gets fertilized to produce two individuals. But these twins are fraternal twins or non-identical twins because they are produced from two eggs. The full term of development of an embryo in the uterus. This is gestation. Fixing of the blastocysts in the endometrial layer of the uterine wall of the uterus. This process is implantation. The onset of menstruation in young female at about the age of 13 years is known as menarche. Similarly, the permanent stoppage of menstruation in female at about the age of 45 years is menopause. The phase of menstrual cycle which occurs on the 13th or 14th day, during which the Graafian follicle ruptures and the mature egg is released in the oviduct. This phase is ovulatory phase. The process of expulsion of the fully formed fetus from the mother's uterus through the vagina to the outside of the body by contraction of the uterine muscles. This is parturition. It means birth. Disc-like structure in the uterine wall which nourishes and maintains the fetus through the umbilical cord. This is placenta. The state of carrying the unborn young one inside the body of female is known as pregnancy. The period during which immature reproductive system of boys and girls mature and becomes capable of reproducing. This is puberty. A milky fluid containing a mixture of sperms and secretions of accessory gland. This is semen. Rest of the chapters I have covered with you in the live session. So I think this much is sufficient for today's video. Best of luck for your bio paper. Thanks for watching.